Hi all, this is Srikanth. Today I'll walk you through transaction signing using a demo banking example to show how a security key can cryptographically approve a specific transaction. We will cover why login alone is not enough for high value transactions, how a transaction signing can solve it, and walk through a banking scenario and look at what happens under the hood. And we'll finish with the business value. So the problem with the multi-factor authentication is it normally answers one question. So standard multi-factor authentication answers that is it really you? And that's important. But for high value transactions, that is not enough. So consider this. A user logs into their bank account. Now they are authenticated. But if malware is sitting in the browser, it can silently change a wire transfer from $1,000 to $50,000 and or change the recipient entirely. The bank has no way to know this because the session is already authenticated. So even if someone else gains access to session after the login, they can initiate transaction as a user. The bank cannot distinguish between the real user and the attacker because both are using the same authenticated session. Now, the login authentication proves identity, but it doesn't prove the user authorized this specific transaction. So now, what is the solution? The solution is the transaction signing. So transaction signing adds a critical layer. So instead of just authenticating the user, it cryptographically binds the user's approval to a specific transaction. Now, when user initiates a wire transfer, the server generates a challenge that includes the transaction details, the amount, the recipient, and the account information. The user security key signs this challenge. The signature proves the user authorized exactly this transaction. And if malware tries to change the amount or the recipient, the signed challenge won't match the modified transaction. The server detects a tampering and rejects it. So this gives the bank non-repudiation, cryptographic proof that user specifically approved this exact transaction. So not just logged in, but user authorized this $1,000 transfer to this specific person. So let's consider the real world scenario. Let's walk through an example. User is already logged into the bank account. We will use the security key for this demonstration and we will see the step by step we are going forward. So the security key is already registered from the previous session. User navigates to wire transfer, enters the details like transfer $1,000 to the payee's account. Bank server takes these transaction details, the amount, the recipient, and encodes them in a cryptographic challenge. The challenge literally contains the information like fund transferred to payee for the amount $1,000. And the browser prompts touch or tap your security key to authorize this transaction. User inserts the security key and touches it. The key signs the challenge, including the embedded transaction data, with its private key. The signature is sent back to server, and the server verifies whether signature is valid or not. The transaction details in the signed challenge match the requested transaction, and everything's checks out. Now, at this point, the transfer will be approved. Now, let's see some security scenarios. Let's look at what happens in the attack scenarios. Now, let's say malware tries to change the transfer amount in the browser. Now, in that case, what happens is the signed challenge still contains the original amount, but the server detects the mismatch and the transaction will be rejected. And if the attacker replays a previously transaction signing response, each challenge is unique. The old signature doesn't match the new challenge. In that case, also, it will be rejected. And if the session is hijacked after the login, the attacker can browse the account but cannot sign a transaction without the physical security key. So in this demonstration, we will be using a physical security key which is attached to the device itself. Now the key principle is even if everything else is compromised, the session, the browser, the network, the attacker cannot forge the user signature on a transaction without physically possessing the security key. So that's the catch. Now, coming to the business value, this provides the non-repudiation. So it basically proves the cryptographic proof the user authorized each transaction. And this is tamper detection. So any modification between the challenge and signature is caught. Session hijack protection. Stolen sessions cannot authorize the transaction. And this is it provides a regulatory compliance, meets strong customer authentication requirements for financial transactions, and the same hardware. So users use the same security key already registered for the login, and it has a full API control. And the admin can actually perform the approval or deletion of the security key from the backend. So let's understand this with a basic working example. So this is a sample website where I'll be trying to generate a hash for a simple message. Now let's say there is a message called transfer $1,000 to Alex. Now, if the message is this format, the hash value for the message is always this particular number that is generated. Now, if anybody tries to modify any value in the message, let's say I modified the $1,000 to $50,000 over here, the hash value will change. Now, this is the idea that we're going to use it and perform the transaction signing, and we'll understand how it actually works. So, and if malware tries to change the amount or the recipient, the hash value will not match, and the server detects the tampering and rejects it. So, with this idea, we will see an example. So this is a sample website where we will try to log in with the user. And this website is already configured to work with the security key, and security key is attached to my physical device. So let me try to initiate the transaction with the user. And it's asking for the first factor authentication, that is password. And now it is asking me to validate the security key for the multi-factor authentication. So I'm waiting for the prompt. Now it's asking me to use the security key and login. I'll select the security key option, and it gave me a prompt to touch or tap the security key that is attached to my device, and I'm now tapping it. Now I got logged in. Now let's say I want to transfer the money to any specific user, and I want to perform a transaction signing. So I will select the beneficiary over here, and I will enter the amount to be transferred, and I will click on the transfer using security key option. So this will actually perform the transaction signing, which I was referring to earlier. And this will use the security key to sign the actual message so that any tamper will be detected by the server. So let me proceed and select this option, transfer using security key. Waiting for the prompt so that I can confirm the transaction details from my end. And I've got a prompt. I will select the option security key, and it is asking me to touch or tap your security key so that this message will be signed by using the security key. So I'll tap it, and I gave my response, and you can see that transaction is successful. So this way, if malware tries to change the amount or recipient, the signed challenge won't match the modified transaction, and the server rejects the tampering, and it completely halts the transaction. So this gives the bank non-repudiation, a cryptographic proof that the user specifically approved this exact transaction. So I not just logged in, but I also authorized this $1,000 transfer to the specific person. Thank you.